For episode number 19 of Cody's Business Show with D. Golatto, the one and only at Amazon FBA Woman. Uh, do you remember the first Miami conference? We met briefly there. Do you remember meeting me there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I follow you on Instagram every single day. You're in my cadre of people to follow, and I'm right up your alley. I know exactly what you're up to, at least what you've divulged publicly. And
yeah,
I thank you for having me on. It's always been a dream of mine to sit down with each of the people that I follow and be
yeah,
able to make
sure.
it happen true. Thank
I
you.
feel the same way. I have this new kind of I don't want to say obsession, but like this new interest in like practitioners, like people that are actually like doing the thing, day in and day out. And I follow you too, and seeing some of the stuff you're doing. You're right there with a lot of us in the trenches that are just building an Amazon business, and that's a powerful thing.
But Cody, had I known 20 years ago when my cousin first approached me, maybe 1999, 2001, I had already done like so many MLMs and everything else. I wasn't ready or open to hearing it. Had I
Yeah,
started back then, we all have hindsight's 2020.
right.
Uh, but I'm here. I'm pushing 60. I'm starting to feel 60, and that's going to require some changes in my business model very soon. But
Yeah. Didn't you
here
do
we
books
are.
for a while? Did I hear you talk about doing books for a while? Like used books?
Funny story, sad story for me, probably a great story for Miles. But Flips for Miles and I started at the same exact time in
Okay.
March 2019, both selling books, and I think we met in a Facebook group or a YouTube chat
Okay.
for Avery Romer the Romer.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
And what had gotten me into books was I was a corporate administrator, had worked at this particular hospital system for years and years, and it got to the point where I couldn't even stand the thought of getting out of bed and getting dressed to go to work, and I knew I had to pivot somehow
Yeah,
because I have to work until I'm at probably 65. If I had gone the traditional route,
right.
my husband's already retired. He's a few years older than I am. And I knew that if I had to spend one more minute there, I was just going to check out. I couldn't take it, could
Yeah.
not take it. So I started looking for a side hustle. And when I had success with books, and I really had success with books, I was amazed. Um, I just naturally progressed. And then the global situation occurred in 2020,
Yeah.
bringing us all to our knees. And I decided I wasn't going back to my hospital job because I
Sure.
couldn't afford to be an active statistic during that time frame, given that my husband has had open heart surgery. So I made the decision to stay home, work home,
Yeah.
and take Amazon full time. So yes, I did start with
Amazing story.
books.
Yeah, I love that story. I think I think a lot of people could benefit from hearing that because there are a lot of people that are miserable, like just hating their life, going to a job that they hate, and they're stuck, and you
Well, I
know,
have to tell you, I've always been a plan. I've always had a plan B. I used to
sure,
say I'm a plan B kind of girl, but that now with that medication out, I don't say I'm a plan B type of girl.
sure,
Um, but I've always had a plan B, and I knew being the primary breadwinner now that my husband's retired and he has a fixed income per se
hmm,
among his retirement and his social security, I never want to be someone who had to rely on someone else because just by virtue of our age difference, someday I will, if things go in the chronological order of the universe, I will be alone someday, and I don't want to have to be reliant on
sure,
anybody else's financial situation. So I just took the bull by the horns, and it blows my mind today. The new people, the influx of sellers that we've had since 2020,
yeah, sure,
and the tanking and everything else that's been occurring, and you really have
hmm,
to be able to pivot. Uh, it just amazes me when I see these new booksellers. I can't find any books.
yeah,
Now, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I did put a little whine in there because if there's one thing I can't tolerate, and I don't think anybody who's up on an upward trajectory in this business
hmm,
can tolerate, is whining.
yeah,
Be part of the solution or get out. If you don't have a passion for this and you're just looking for the money, get out. If you're
Yeah.
not having fun, get out. We all know that life is too short, and the closer you get to the end of that wick, chronologically, I mean, I may be double your age for all I know, the more acutely aware you become of it.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, if you're not having fun with it, I think there's some people you could potentially get stuck doing this and hating it, so, like, it's not just,
Oh, it's a grind.
it
Anybody who says
yeah.
it's get rich quick is just turn the page, click the
Right.
remote, move the mouse, whatever. Anyone who says it or is passive or wants to give you an automation speech, I don't know how you feel about automation. Walk on by. I don't have time. I just don't
Yeah,
have
sure.
time. Be
Yeah.
like minded, or I'll catch you on the backflip.
Yeah, the most realistic way to make money in this, selling on Amazon is just doing hard work, in the beginning, and a lot of it, like you said, automation, that's probably not real. Maybe it's happening somewhere, somehow, but everything I've seen, everybody that I've, from what I can see, it's not a real thing. So,
My
but
favorite word is aspercream.
yeah.
Aspercream, and we believe in guns. Ooh,
That's funny.
and we like to fly.
Uh, I think, I have a little bit different opinion on books, than I did, when I maybe 2 years ago. I think that arbitrage is just a huge opportunity, and so, with the way some store like, Ollie's is a good example, like, the way Ollie's is set up, if you're willing to work, you can get, you know, you can find those 100, 200% ROI items at an Ollie's, and then instead of one book, it's like a one-off book, you go and you get a crate of pregnancy tests or, sunscreen or whatever it is, and, from there, and then you can go from that store to the one in the town over, and so, I think books is great. I think the books model is great, but I think just regular, boring scanning arbitrage, there's a huge opportunity, and talking about the influx of sellers, I actually, just kind of feeling it out. I think people have started to go do other things. Like, I think there's a lot of hobby resellers that came in during the pandemic that, you know, it's not as there's
Good.
not so much low
Goodbye.
hanging fruit. Yeah.
Walk on by.
Sure.
I'm into arbitrage. I'm entrenched in arbitrage because during 2020, although I made a very good, I started in March 2019, and then March 2020 when I ended up
Wow.
leaving the job. Was it March 2020? Yeah, I left my job March 2020. I was on my 1 year anniversary of selling books part time. I say part time, but it felt full time because I was
Sure.
only off on Saturday and Sunday. I was working a 40 to 60 hour job a week
Yeah.
in the health system. And when things ramped up during that situation, my time became even more minuscule that I had outside of the hospital system. So when I do parts, I sold my first year part time. It felt full time from a sourcing perspective, but it was really part time as far as what I was sending in. I managed to sell $50,000 part time,
That's
and I was
amazing.
pretty proud of myself considering everything else I was juggling. And then come the big P word. I don't even know if you can say it on YouTube. That's why I say the situation in 2020.
Other people don't. I don't think I'm big enough for it to matter. So
I became the queen of curbside pickups because
oh,
people
sure.
wouldn't leave
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah.
And it was a false start in that my first year, I replaced my corporate income.
Yeah.
6 figures. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. But it was also like shooting fish in a barrel because when 21 rolled around and people started stepping their toes out a little bit,
Yeah.
I felt it in my sales and I had to go wider and wider. My net had to go wider and wider.
Yep.
Um, and that was no easy feat given that with the influx of people, we're all going after the same product. But fortunately, I made it through because then the supply chain just got glitched and everything
Yep.
stopped. Everything
That
stopped.
happened to a lot
But
of
OA
people.
became my bread and butter.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So you went books to RA pickup type items and then to
And
OA?
I'm also 100% FBA. I
Oh,
used to be
nice.
like 190. I will not FBM something unless it's something I had removed maybe last year.
Yeah,
And if I have time, I will try to put it on eBay because with the increased return fees, it's not prudent to send it back FBA. And I'm not one to do an FBM model just based on the fact that my husband and I live in a very small house with
Sure.
2 dogs and space is limited, and I don't want to do the storage units. I also use a prep center because I had to get some free labor. I call it
Yeah.
free labor because the $1.50 per item I would normally spend on tax, sales tax, is negated when I send it to a tax-free prep center. So it was worth it for me to get a team of people working on my inventory and getting it out the door at $1.50 an item,
Yeah.
which I would have paid in sales tax anyway. It takes a lot of taxing off me physically as well as mentally looking at the stuff all around my house. I mean, I look like Sanford and Son, but the stuff is new.
Yeah.
The stuff
That's
is
how
new.
my basement looks, yeah. Uh,
I want to know. Can I ask you a question? I know
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
interviewing me, but I have to know. I have to know because, as I made reference to, I started with at the same time as Flips for Miles doing
Yeah,
books. I just loved scanning. I loved going to the estate sales. I loved going to the Salvation Army and anywhere else I got books at the time. And in Cash Crunch, like I'm currently in a pretty good Cash Crunch right now because my summer's been a little slow sales
oh, I
wise.
love that you said that. Oh,
I'm in
oh,
a crunch. I go back to
oh,
books and
I
get
love
back in
that you
those
said that.
trenches
Yeah,
because where else can you spend a couple bucks and sell a book for $80
yep,
used? And the people know it's used. I mean, come on, the return, the books are the highest return I think that you can possibly do. But,
sure.
again, I don't know everything, but in my limited experience in the 3 years I've been at this game, books are the highest ROI. So anyway, I going back because I tend to repeat myself. I started when the flip started. However, I was pulling out a $3,000 to $5,000 draw every single month to make my living expenses.
Yeah.
Whereas all these kids, and I'm not dissing anybody, all these kids got to live at home and had minimal, probably living expenses, maybe car payments, the ancillary stuff. They weren't supporting a family on their income. So they were able to roll that money. And between the genius, hooking up with Danny DeFeo and Garrett and All Out Amazon, the three of them, they just have to be arsenic. They just have to be like flammable lighter fluid on a fire. These guys can't
Sure.
stop. They are a train. I'm
Yeah.
here pushing 60-year-old by myself. I have my little mastermind group on Monday of a handful, not even a handful of women, just for think tank and
Yeah. Love it.
socialization purposes, because it can be a very lonely environment.
Sure.
Otherwise, if you don't non-networking, not talking to other sellers will kill you. But that's another story.
Mm,
I am starting wholesale like you. I just
okay.
now on the
Yeah.
think tank team on Monday, which was just 2 days ago, we were talking about Chris Grant and Corey Gannum's wholesale challenge that started on Monday.
Yeah.
I didn't take the wholesale challenge because I said, the $500 for that course would be better spent on OA than getting my train stocked up for back to school. La la la.
Sure.
But Nathan Jackson of Hustle Buddies and Corey Gannum did a precursor to the starting of the wholesale club for those people that might just be starting or on limited income or in a cash crunch or for whatever reason. They did a very in-depth, not tutorial, but discussion where if you're one of the sharper sticks in the bunch, you might actually be able to go on wholesale just from that without having to take the whole wholesale course. Although, had I had the time or the money, I would have done it because everything Chris Grant touches turns to gold. There's just no
I agree.
no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Totally
So I
agree.
do have a couple of wholesale accounts that I grunged up in the past
Nice.
few weeks. Haven't used them
Congrats.
yet because their MOQ, or their minimum ordering quantity, for those that are learning the abbreviations, are just a little bit out of my reach right now, where I don't want to put all my eggs in that one basket and have to wait to sell off that initial order that might be at break even
Sure.
rather than profitable, just because I'm starting a relationship with the wholesale people. I don't want to say, give me your best list. I've been buying from you for 5 minutes. I want the best prices.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
going to say, go.
Yeah.
So I'm starting just like you, and let's make this thing go
Yeah.
because
That's exciting. So you're gonna have went the full spectrum of used books to RA to OA and then now to whole and I'm in a similar situation and I actually I've dipped my toes in private label too. I haven't
but
really
how do you do it? You do thrift, you do RA, you do OA,
I do.
you do you're starting with wholesale, and I saw you on one of your videos packing boxes for Walmart. What the hell?
Yeah, we do.
What
We
the heck?
do. Yeah. No, hell is fun. Um, we do like 70 or 80% Amazon. So the other stuff is kind of, I've
Who's
always,
we, Corey? Do you have a team? Do you have a warehouse? How
my
are you
wife and
pushing
I.
the output?
Yeah, it's me and my wife. My wife and I. So, if I pan let's see,
And
I'll
you have an
pan the
infant
computer over here.
who's probably 9 months old by now.
Yep,
How old's your infant?
4 months.
Oh,
She's just
4 months.
over here
Okay,
too.
so time isn't flying that fast. But and you have
No,
5 kids.
6 now. She's number 6.
Well,
Yeah,
she's number 6, and then
yeah.
you have your wife,
Hmm.
and you're on 95 million platforms. Do you
Well,
sleep? Do you sleep?
sometimes my wife says no. Um, we're really focused on Amazon. That's our bread. We make our income, like our real money comes from Amazon. We have had Walmart forever. It's obvious whenever I put focus on one thing, it loses momentum on the other thing. So like that's an obvious problem. A criticism of my operation is that we're doing too much. If we got really focused on just one or two things, I think we'd be better. But also, if Amazon ever decides to pull the rug on us again, if that ever happens,
Right.
I
Which is
could
true.
pick up tomorrow and just put all of that cash and time towards Walmart or towards our eBay store. Or and the eBay thing is, I'm almost embarrassed by it, even though it's a cash cow for us. We just got a really good source, and
Why are you
so
embarrassed by it?
well,
Who signs your paycheck at the end of the day is making you embarrassed about it?
nobody. But there are a lot of people that are, I call them Amazon snobs. That it's like you should, Amazon's the best opportunity, so you should pursue that. But we make good money on eBay selling freaking boots and stuff like that too. And so
This goes back to you do you.
100%, yeah.
I mean, obviously, we can all tune up our operations better, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. Be laughing our way to the bank. And well, no, I know that you do a lot. I know your focus. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going back on memory. You are pulling these sales and revenue, and you're gearing your profit toward helping people in underdeveloped nations, correct? Or missionary work.
That's
It's
one
not
of our
even
big
like you're
goals.
looking for your Lambo or your Rolex or your whatever rich people spend money on. I would never know, probably never know. But
Don't say that.
you know what I mean? So forget the snobs. I was out driving Uber Eats last week because I was $200 short on a bill I wanted to pay, and I didn't want to take it out of my operating income per se, because every penny that comes in is operating income.
Sure. I love that so much. You being
I'm
open
Uber
about.
Eats. I'm sitting here 60 years old hoiking people's pizzas up to their freaking door. It's like in 95-degree stultifying humidity. So don't tell me I'm not committed to this project because I will
Sure.
never quit Amazon. I don't care.
Where are you located? Are you in Florida?
I'm in the East Coast. I'm in Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode Island. Okay, okay, nice.
So
I've
between
never.
the Canadian fires and there's smoke coming over and the heat
Sure.
coming up from the south, and I am not a heat person. I love
Yeah,
tropical vacations, but I don't like living in it year round,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh.
or I wouldn't be here.
I love what you said about the cash crunch and being open about that, because I feel like
Oh,
there's so much ego on social media, and sometimes it's like to hear somebody talk about the same things that I deal with, pretty regularly is I put this on my Instagram threads the other day, that reselling on a low budget is a different skill set than reselling on a high budget. And so, like what you said about your monthly draw, I got 6 freaking kids and health insurance and a mortgage and everything. So like my draw is like it's large, and so having to balance all that, it's kind of tough. But it's also, that's part of the reason that we work so hard and we've had some success we have is because we just have to. Like it's just that's there's not really an option to like if Amazon failed, quote unquote, or the rug got pulled out from under us, we've got to be able to do something the next day. Because similar to you, I came from insurance and I freaking hate insurance and I don't ever want to do that again. And I'm good at it. I can make great money. I'm that's funny. I'm what do they call it? Infinitely employable or whatever. Like I could get a job
yes,
like
you have a skill set where,
this
yeah,
afternoon.
me
I
too.
could go get a job, and that's there, but I couldn't. The truth is I couldn't. I would be so miserable, so,
Can you
but with
imagine
all
answering to a boss who might even be half your age at this point, telling
that
you
sure. Yeah,
the
yeah,
straightest way to point A to B is a crooked line?
yeah.
No, no, we're going to take
Right.
the incompetency, the idiocy, and right now the lack of customer service wherever you go. I don't
Sure.
know where all these people who lost their jobs during the pandemic are getting their money from. They're still
Yeah,
out there. I don't know how,
it's a tough
but
world, yeah.
the oh my god, I can't
Mhm.
take it to have to work with people like that every day. I would just
Right.
let's just call it a day now. I couldn't. I can't. And I'm not being snobby. I just
Yeah,
have no tolerance for bullshit and incompetency. I can't do it.
it's out
Can't do
there.
it.
Yeah.
Don't. I don't want to hear you whining.
Right, yeah.
I'm a star whiner. I want to hear whining. I can whine to myself, and believe me, I've done it many a day. I go to quit this business at least 3 times a month for sure.
Yeah,
When it comes time to doing my bookkeeping, oh, I hate this. And
yeah.
I know of all the fancy people. I got the FOMO. They have VAs doing their books, and they have VAs doing this. And God bless you, power to you. There's
Yeah.
now people approaching me saying, "Hey, we can train VAs for you that are in the upper echelon or guru hierarchy, if you call it that." Financially, I'm not
Guru
ready for that,
hierarchy. I
and
love
I
that.
am a control freak. I don't want somebody else messing with my numbers. I just can't do it. And
Yeah.
there's just not enough to go around with all the facets of self-employment. The fact that you're not using a prep center is blowing my mind.
We don't have a prep center at all. Yeah, no, we're not using one, no.
Don't you get
Uh,
tired?
if
I
I
hate the prepping and shipping. I hate it.
I've prep tables this way and prep tables this way, yeah. I mean, I have kids that help me, with their child labor to desticker and put stuff in bags, and we pay them with dollar store candy, and
There you go.
a lot of the stuff that we're doing, like you mentioned that the $1.50 sales tax the $1.50 prep fee is offset by the sales tax. Ours is not. Like a lot of our stuff is lower. We're doing a lot of small and light. We're
What
doing a lot
state are
of.
you in?
I'm in Georgia,
Yeah,
so I mean you're looking at
you're down there, but you're not
18%.
way down there.
Yeah, I'm just above Florida, so we're
Hmm.
we're safe from the crazy Florida people. Um, by the way, LAG wants to know what's your channel. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I am at Amazon FBA woman across all socials: TikTok,
Cool.
Instagram, YouTube. I just started YouTube. Why? Because everybody says you need to have a social media presence.
Sure.
But again, having the level of shyness that I have, that you obviously are not seeing right now because I'm pinching myself under the table to stay with the program and not forget anything. I am doing a channel, but I don't have a lot posted there yet. And I have started with Instagram. I'm a little camera shy, but I'm getting better at it. At
I
this
think you're
stage of
doing
my life,
great.
if anybody told me I was going to have to do a social media thing,
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't even know what they were talking about if I was
I
the
mean,
age I
you're
was when
talking
these
about
kids started.
having, some of the sellers you've mentioned, Danny and those other guys, and then, some of the other ones you mentioned, like, you're having conversations with those people that are, I know for a fact, some of those guys are, just killing it, and so that's the power of social media is you start to form those relationships,
When I met you, when I met you um, in Miami in 2021, which was the first annual Miami Sellers Conference thrown
Yep,
by
I was there for the first
Avery
one.
and Taylor Jones. It
Hmm.
was excellent because my immediate mentors, per se, were, or people I followed on YouTube. We didn't have relationships.
Hmm.
I'd comment in their groups and things like that. And Miles and I recognize each other and a few other people because we're almost like OGs at this point, 3 years, even though we're really newborns.
Sure.
Um, uh, I I did a 24-hour turnaround for that trip where I came in, was supposed to get in the night before at 9 o'clock the Friday night, didn't get in until 2 in the morning because Southwest pulled a real binger on me, and then I went to the conference from 8 to 6, and then I was on a plane back home up the East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, all within a 48-hour turn.
Yeah.
But I was determined. I said, I am, and it was, of course, 175 degrees when we went
Hmm. It was.
in that beautiful panoramic overlooking Miami Beach, and all I could think of was I want to jump out of that water. But
Yeah.
I made it a point to meet Eric Castellanos of Amazon Lit,
Yep.
Avery Romer the Romer,
Yep.
Steve Rakin wasn't there that year. I just met him this past conference face to face,
Mm-hmm.
and I am really entrenched in his groups because I love Steve. He's a stand up guy, and I
Yeah.
love him. Um, Shout out to Steve. And I finally met Reezy. I met Reezy this year,
Oh, nice.
and I met Rakin this year. But Avery, I'm already losing my train of thought. Richie
Yeah,
Hustles,
Richie was
Avery,
there. Yeah. Yep.
and other people in the book world who I started following. I said, I got to meet these
Sure.
guys. A, I have to thank them for changing my life and giving me the confidence to move forward.
Yep.
And B, um, now that I had that face to face contact with them in 21, although I couldn't go to the conference in 22, I'm not sure if you went to 22. Did you go to
I didn't.
22?
Mm.
Um, I couldn't make it to 22. I had a daughter that was getting married. I
Okay.
couldn't make it to 22, so I came to 23, which was this past February. That's where I met Rakin and stayed in uh, Airbnb with him and some of the people in his group.
I remember
That's where I
seeing.
met
I
Seth
remember seeing that stuff.
Checkmate Flips in person, and we're actually vacationing. We're going again in September. We're
Oh,
spending
cool.
5 days in Oklahoma. There's 20 of
Very
us sharing an Airbnb, and it's going to be a wild think tank.
cool.
Love it. But I made it a point to reach out to the people. You say they say you're only as strong as your weakest link. Although
Sure.
I give back by having a group, I have a Facebook group where I give back in that sometimes I'll throw out sales, I'll throw out leads, I'll throw out a video on, look at this great video from Nathan and Corey on wholesale,
Sure.
or look at this great video from Nikki Kirk on making bundles. I'll put that out there and say, hey, if you're interested in bundles, you may want to take a look at this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily original FBA woman content, but connecting people. If you want wholesale, I'm going to connect you with either Castellano and Amazon Lit or Larry Lubarski from Watch Me Amazon.
Sure.
Everybody has their niches.
Yeah.
Books, I'm going to send them to Reezy, Avery. I have different people for different segments of my particular business that I rely on. And
Sure.
that's who I guide my people to because I can vouch for people. I can vouch for you. I can't necessarily vouch for people I follow on YouTube that I've never met before. They may have
Sure.
a great online presence, but I want to know who that person is. Am I talking to
Right.
somebody who's on the up and up, or am I talking to a sleazebag? And I've met
Sure.
plenty on both sides of the line.
They exist.
So I always aspire to not hobnob, but try to stay in the know with the people that I want to emulate and follow.
Yeah.
And by the same token, anybody who's starting out under me with books, who might be in my group or follow me on YouTube or whatever they do,
Yeah.
I'm going to pull them up with me to at least the level I've been able to reach.
Mm-hmm.
And as I try to go up and better myself, I want to bring the people in my group along with me.
Yeah.
Because I ended up starting a group because, like you can't answer everybody that instant messages you or
Sure.
has a question. I say, please
That
put
gets
it in the group.
overwhelming very fast. Yeah.
If you put it in the group or you put it in your continuing education Corey group, everybody gets the same information at the same time.
Right. Sure.
Right? Freeing me up a little bit because I don't charge money or any kind of fee for what I might know. And again, I'm not a pro. I might be staring you right down the wrong alley. I don't know. I'm just letting you know where I've gone to this point. Take what you will, leave the rest. Follow people like you and the other people that have been established. How many years have you been doing this now? 8, 9?
Yeah.
10?
I mean, we've been since 2017. I guess Amazon since 2018-ish, something like that. So
There you go. So how do you like the Walmart side? Because that's like an
Yeah.
FBM. That's like an Amazon FBM operation, right? You have to ship everything from your house into them.
They have a FBA option called
Oh, they do.
Yep, WFS. I'm doing almost entirely merchant fulfilled on Walmart.
So you're fulfilling each customer order as it comes in.
Right. Yeah, we probably do like 3 to 10 orders a day or something with them. Literally, all we're doing is we're just cross-listing stuff that we've already done the work for on Amazon and see if it sells on Walmart too. And so that's kind of our whole strategy with Walmart is just the work we've already done, trying to see if we can double it by putting it on another platform.
Okay, so I have another question for you. Sorry, I'm pumping
Bring
your
it.
brain here.
No, you're interviewing me. This is great. You're doing.
I
my
didn't mean
job
to
and
take
your
over
job.
and start interviewing you, but
This
there's
is
so much
wonderful.
stuff I could learn from you, and there's not anything really you're going to learn from me. But being said, how much time are you attributing to labor versus sourcing? I mean, to go to the thrift stores, prep the stuff for the Walmart shipments going in, the Amazon. I'm 100% FBA. I used to be like 90/10. I don't want to deal with merchant fulfilled, not even around Christmas. But then again, I'm not aspiring to be an 8-figure seller. I'm pushing
Sure.
60. I'm retired in advance in that. My husband, who's 72, I want to spend as much time as possible with him while he's ambulatory. He may be ambulatory till he's 100.
Hmm.
But given that he's had open heart surgery in the past and stuff, I want to live with him now, and I'll put off what I have to till later.
Yeah,
So
sure.
as long as I can, if
Makes
I
sense.
can make 500 grand, if I can sell 500 grand a year, I haven't
Hmm.
reached that yet. That was my goal for this year. But
Yeah,
unfortunately for this Q2, it's becoming evident to me that unless I have a hell of a Q3 and 4, I'm not going to make the 500. But do I quit? No. I just say I'm
sure.
going to do it next year. With
Yeah.
everything I learned this year, I'm going to tighten up and I'm going to do it. So how much do you attribute to labor versus sourcing? Because again, you're only one person. Does your wife source with two, or does she help with the manual at home?
Yeah, she doesn't do much sourcing. I do most of the sourcing, and we haven't been in a thrift store. I went through a phase where I created a bunch of content about the thrift stores because I was probably there were probably like 2 weeks where I was in a bunch of thrift stores and I was kind of bored, and so yeah, I made eBay content. But I was actually doing it. I was buying, like I was buying the stuff, and so I think that content can help people that aren't on Amazon yet. So that was kind of my thought behind that. I don't really attribute labor, honestly. I just kind of take it day by day. There are some days where I'm working from like early. If I'm going to Atlanta, which is an hour and a half from my house ish. I'm leaving early, like
Yeah.
7 a.m. or something like that,
Mhm.
and then I might not be back until nighttime, and so that's a full day of sourcing, a full day of, going. I run a leads group too, and so those leads that are coming in, I get first pick on every lead, and so that's kind of it's a good setup for us,
And
and
I
so
want to
we
ask you about that in a minute.
yeah, sure. But that helps offset some of the obvious, labor, if you will, of finding leads. Is I'm already doing that in the background. I have a team of 2 to 3 VAs, that are working on that, and so OA comes natural for us, and then the
Oh,
RA
so
lead.
you have VAs for the lead group? Because I was going to say, how much of your business is RA and how much is OA? I know you
Yeah,
believe in
sure.
the OA model, but I also know you have no problem rolling up your sleeves and going out to the store and buying 100 of Monopoly game if you need to.
You're
I
gonna
mean,
laugh. Over the last, I would say, I mean, the last month, we're probably 70 or 80% RA of our purchases. Like there's a lot of stuff right now out in the RA, field that if you have money, like some of the stuff like
Cody, I love RA. OA
yeah,
is
I love RA
treacherous for
too.
me.
Yeah,
I mean, I watch Miles. I set up my repricers according to Warner Fields of Profit. I copy his be cool settings for his free pricing. With Miles, I watch everything he does. He just says, "Oh, in 10 minutes, let's see if we can find $200 worth of profit." And he just pulls up some website and everything he touches is gold. And I sit at my computer and the thing's looking at me like, "What are you going to do? What the hell are
yeah,
you going to make a move, lady?" And I'm
sure.
looking at it like, well, if Miles just looks at his computer, this stuff just pops up. I've got my
Yeah,
seller amp and my Keepa, and I'm doing store stalking. OA to me is like sitting at a desk in a job. RA, you
yeah.
go out to the store, la la la, you go catch
Get your
yourself a coffee
Starbucks
if you drink
coffee.
it.
Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
But shout out to Steve Rakin Profit, one of my very first mentors in the book world. He does an E to A program, eBay to Amazon,
Yeah,
where he buys low on eBay and sells high on Amazon. I think Checkmate Flips has a similar thing going down. Well, I
yeah. We
know he
did a
does.
coaching with him and my in the CEC
We
group.
were all in a hot tub in Miami one night, 10 of us that are sharing the Airbnbs, all crammed into this hot tub. And I started hearing about this E to A model. Now, I'm not as risk averse as some of the people following E to A, and the money they're making, God bless them, because they are
Sure.
making money.
Yeah,
I'll do used books. I do safe things because there's no difference from going in and picking up a book from a nonfiction book. I'm not particularly talking about textbooks. There's nothing,
Sure.
no difference going to eBay and paying $5 to somebody for a nonfiction book, or going into a thrift store and paying $3 to $5 for the same book.
Sure.
They're used. You don't know where they came
Same
from.
risk.
It's
Yeah.
the same thing. Would I
But a
sell a
new
book new?
DVD or
No.
yeah.
Would I sell a book new from eBay? Certainly not.
Yeah.
Some people do, don't, and Steve does not advocate that either.
Yeah.
But I don't have the greed factor up to the limit where I have to really worry at night. I have to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
have to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. I feel that way
And
too.
greed factor wasn't the word. Uh, Guru status, whatever you want to call it.
Love it.
Whatever you reach when you reach the top, wherever the top may be. Could be the top
Yeah.
of the Empire State Building, for which I'll be climbing the rest of my life. But
I don't know about that. Let me ask
I
you about
love
your
RA.
operation.
RA is so great, but it's such a time suck.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with RA for me. I see a bunch of leads. Like it's part of my daily job, if you will, is looking through leads. It's part of everybody's job, I guess, that's sourcing arbitrage. But um, if I have the choice of a really solid OA lead or a really solid RA lead that I know, is going to be there because I have a pickup or whatever, but it has twice the profit or twice the ROI, like it's an even better lead, and all I have to do is go get it. For me, it makes sense because when I go, I pick that up and then I look at what else is on the shelf, look through, replens that we buy at that store. And then while I'm doing all that, I can generate more leads for my leads group. And so for me there, it makes sense to go into the store every chance I get, because then I can look for, those leads for what, the people that are paying, for that service. And so like that's been a good, a way to kind of distribute that for me. But just looking at what's out there RA right now, I think that a lot of the people who came into the game during COVID, like I don't think they're around as much, or they're not as interested in RA. Maybe they're all transitioning to wholesale, but I don't see.
Well, let's throw
It's
it
not.
this way. What's your average cost of goods, Cody? My average cost of goods is probably in the $18 to $20 range, which it has to be, because when I do OA at lower cost of goods, or the lower hanging fruit, or the more easily accessible products, let's put it that way, because anybody who starts wants to buy things at the dollar store, and once they realize that's not going to be a hit, they start to loosen their purse strings a little bit,
Sure.
just a little bit. So 18 to 20 is my average buy cost. That's where I need to be in order to avoid tanking situations, because those people that have invested more are more willing to wait their turn. I belong in one Facebook group, and I swear to God, I was going to battle with this particular guy who's just nothing but a negative time suck. I don't know why this particular guru lets this person flap. He's never made a post, but he knows everything about everything because he's been selling for 18 years. So this
Sure.
guy, and if you're on here, I hope you're having a wonderful day. He's telling everybody price at the lowest FBA price. And I made a comment that encourages tanking. Match the buy box.
Yeah.
They say, oh, what if it's FBM or FBA? Just match the buy box. Be in the ballpark of the buy box. Because even things where you have stable lines, they fluctuate. They fluctuate up and down. But everybody else comes in with this eBay mentality. I have to be the cheapest in order to get the sale.
Yeah.
Hold your horses. Hold your horses. I know you're trying to turn that $10 into $50 into $100 to grow your business faster.
Yeah.
But by the same time, you're taking listings that may have been up there for years that haven't had that fluctuation.
Yep.
So, some people do lowest FBA. There may be merit to it. I don't care how much you try to explain it to me. I'm never going to agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm a stubborn ass when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I'm convicted in my beliefs. I think I've been around the block long enough to see.
If it's working for you,
I mean, I've been eBaying since 1984. It's not like I'm new to reselling.
Yeah. I think if you have your data, your personal operations data, and it's working for you, I think that's great. I have, for FBA, I'll come in and price crazy sometimes. Like one of our best products right now, I have priced at $19.99, and the low price I think is like $16.25 or 16. It's in the 16s. and I'm not going lower than that price. But like that's where I plan to sell, and I don't plan to change it. And I'm getting consistent sales on that. And so, I think
I make my range within Be Cool, and it swings.
yeah,
But I would much rather have it lingering at the higher end
sure,
than repricing. That's like
yeah,
buy
down
box
a
minus a
couple
penny.
pennies.
Don't even tell me you do buy box minus a penny, or I'm gonna have to click off right now.
Right.
Love you to death, but
Yeah, no, I
buy
don't.
box minus a penny. Thank you very much, because now you just set off every repricer. Do buy box plus a penny if you're going to do the buy box. You're still going to get the sales depending where you are geographically, and
Yeah,
you're not going to set off every repricer known to man. I mean, come on, people. I'm making an appeal. An appeal. If there's anybody on this,
please.
do we even have anybody in this room? I'm having so much fun talking to you. I really don't know. Is
Okay.
anybody in here?
We got let's see,
Don't
lag is
tank.
still on here. He says his actually I don't know if it's a girl or a guy. LAG is average buy cost is $200.
Ooh,
It's a
I'm
different
interested.
That's a different ball game than mine. Is that Jordan? So
Muy
are you buying
caliente. Nice. Nice. If I didn't have to eat and have heat or air conditioning on a regular basis, I'd do it too.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hmm. But
I
you know
bet you
something? I'd rather be broken on my own 180 hours a week if it takes than to sit in an office for 5 minutes taking crap from someone else. I don't care. I don't care.
which one
I'm
of
just
you.
not meant to be in an office, and I've done it my whole life until I had the guts to get out. I did replace my income in the first year, but then again, it was COVID time.
Yeah.
So I got a little spoiled, and now I'm back to reality.
Well, let's talk about your stuff. So you said your goal was 500,000. Where's the bulk of your time going?
The bulk of my time, because it's slow right now, has been trying to get better at OA. And I'm starting now to look at wholesale so that I can start implementing it slowly throughout the rest of 2023.
Okay.
And then have some accounts established. And then 2024, I'm not going 100% wholesale. I'm adding it to RA and OA. Truth be
Okay.
told, I love RA the most. My time goes to sourcing most of the time. I really do need a VA, but I've had neither the time nor the inclination to train one.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the extra income right now to pay one. So
Yeah.
yes, I know I'm doing myself a disservice there, but I'm
Sure.
trying to make tracks over for the last past poor 8 weeks, in my opinion. I know it's been slow for a lot of people, but this year I'm more slow in the summer than I've ever been for the past 2 years. And some people, if you're talking to somebody and they're a guru, they're like, "Don't say your sales have been slow," or "Don't." No, if you're talking to me, if I'm going to talk with you, I'm going to give you the 100 good, bad, and the ugly. And it has
Sure.
been ugly this summer. So my time has been spent recently doing a shift to mostly RA, whether it be going to thrift stores and picking up books because of the high ROI,
Sure.
or getting my hands on product immediately because it takes my prep center a couple of weeks to turn things around,
Yeah.
because it takes that time for everything to come in to make enough to make a shipment
Yeah.
to send out. So filling in that time gap, I've
That
been
makes
doing
sense.
RA. But again, I want to become more efficient in OA. I've got my Seller Amp, I've got
Mm-hmm.
my Keepa, I've got my repricer, I've got Inventory Lab, I've got everything the way I want it. I'm not
Yeah.
looking to change any products. Avery's all over me to go to go-to lister. I'm like, no, not until you get this particular feature. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he said, what if this? Listen, Avery, don't talk to me for the rest of 2023. Love you to death. Talk to me January 1st, 2024, and we'll have a conversation. Because right now I can't afford to make any major shifts in my process because I'm busy gathering my nuts for Q4.
Sure.
Q4.
Yeah.
And if that means I have to RA, I RA.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm probably, now I'm almost 50-50 OA, RA. I used to be 75-25, but I've been coming more on RA. And also I've been doing cherry picking on eBay as well from the E to A program that Steve runs, which
That's
is
cool.
very comprehensive.
Are you using Flipmine for that?
No, I started off with Flipmine, but I found that I could just keep a product finder like
Okay.
I do with my Amazon sourcing, and just for used books, you can use the Keeper Finder as well, and take that data and
Source it
source
on.
on eBay.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Are you using a program if you don't mind my asking, or are you doing that manually from Keep a Product Finder?
I do it manually.
Manually. Oh,
I drill
nice.
down to such a point where I probably only have maybe 300-400 products to go it's
Yeah.
through instead of 10,000. And then again, I'm only going to get through the first 10 or 20 before I become cash crunched.
Sure. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have them on reference. Whether they're good or not, when the time comes for me to actually purchase some of these things, we'll have to
Yeah.
reassess it. But I'm
That's
on a day by
fascinating.
day basis right now.
Yeah, but you save from having to drive to a thrift store and spend hours, you instead you
Yeah,
can do it while you're watching,
yeah, it's not worth it for me. I can't go to any Savers around here or Goodwill. Goodwill maybe on occasion, not on their 30% off day that like I do on Savers.
yeah,
And I can scoop a few there, but I had this is a very heavy being Rhode Island being as small as it is, 45 minutes from point to point, whether you're going diagonal, straight, or sideways.
yeah,
Having Brown University and a couple of other prominent universities in the nearby vicinity, uh, all those places get scanned like the minute the doors open.
really.
Everybody whips their scanner out. It's like
Yeah, sure.
it's laughable, and some people get so shitty to you. They're like, "I was here first," It's like, well, you're not
Yeah,
standing right here
I've
right
had that
now.
happen. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done with library sales too, although I
yeah,
love them.
yeah, that's a whole different game. I've only done a couple of library sales. When
My
I was
first one was during the pandemic at Princeton University, the day the pandemic was announced on
really?
the news.
Wow.
You wouldn't believe it. Guys came in, probably Reezy and his team, something like that, that
Mhm,
I envisioned. And these guys had these big plastic 200-gallon tote
mhm.
buckets. And
Yep.
they would just clear the table into the buckets. And they all went off into the corner and they'd start scanning. It's like, whoa, 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 that is shitty etiquette. I don't care who you
Yeah,
are. That is rude. And
yeah.
of course, me, I'm a Karen. Library administrator, look at all the books they're taking in the corner.
Yeah,
And they said, well, we don't like that because then we have to reset them all up when they leave the stuff in the
mhm.
pile, blah, 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 blah. Did nothing into enforcing the no hoarding rule. But that
Sure.
was a trip. Driving to Princeton, I was the only one in the hotel I was staying at. I'm surprised
Mhm.
people even showed up to the sale. But what
Yeah,
a cutthroat world books library sales are. But it's exciting at the same time.
yeah, sure. Yeah. What would you say to somebody who's, in a similar position as you, as you were when you were leaving
Financially, age wise, career wise, what position am I in?
the hospital and
Yeah.
you're wanting to start your, thing with Amazon? What advice would you give, whether they're old or financial or, whatever however similar they are to the other ways, but they want to start this Amazon, journey. What advice would you give them?
Well, it's funny you ask that because I'm a very cautious person when it comes to all things financial. Having been married more than once, although I'm married for the last time now, having been married more than once, taken to the cleaners on an occasion,
Mm,
uh, having to start over from scratch many, many times, I'm very hesitant to make a move. But once I make a move to something, I am all in. If there's a number more than 100% in, I'm that number. I started part time with books, and I don't recommend anybody quit a good paying full time job to go full time in Amazon until they're making enough where they can make their monthly nut as far as living expenses go and having enough money to do their shopping. I don't recommend you leave a good full time job to do this. Start this as
amen.
a side gig,
Preach.
start with books, get your butt kicked, make your mistakes, lose some teeth,
Mhm.
then you leave your job. For
Yeah,
me, with the pandemic, it was I leave now or I leave never. I was not financially prepared to just leave my job.
yeah.
The situation made it evident to me that I was going to have to stay out for a long time. Everybody else was working from home. My boss said he needed me in the office. I got exposed to that nasty situation.
Mhm.
Fortunately, I didn't get sick. And I said, I can't take this chance again.
Yeah,
So
sure.
off I go. But I had access to my 401k because once you turn 55, there's no penalty for early withdrawal. So I had that in the background. My dogs are going ballistic. My husband probably came home. Um, so I had a little bit of a cushion to draw from should I need it.
Yeah,
Although this is my retirement money, it's not anything.
it's not yeah.
After being divorced and starting over from scratch, it didn't have enough time to really accrue much. But I had that little thing, and I had faith, and I had proof of concept from
Mhm.
doing the books. Once you can make your monthly commitment, if you're a student, I mean, you got these kids at 17 years old. selling
Yeah,
three to
sure.
$400,000 a year. I
Oh,
didn't even
wow.
have a thought of making money like that. I was a little dinky breakfast waitress somewhere. These
Mhm,
kids, some of these kids will never have to work for a job in their life.
mhm.
They come from like families of all lawyers, and they're going to be the first reseller. I'm sure
Right.
their conversations are interesting, but good
Right.
for them for being true to themselves.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't make the clear jump. If you have to make the jump, do it in books and bust your beans. Start with books because it's the highest ROI and it's the easiest thing to get your hands on. You don't have
yeah,
books around you, take out your next door ad, free book haul, do this,
yeah,
do that. Reach out to churches. You're having
yeah.
your annual
Junk
sale.
removal services. I don't
I'll
know.
remove it for free and then I scan
Yeah.
it all.
Heather Scott, is a friend of mine, and she's in Texas. I mean, she still to this day, I mean, she's doing great in OA too, but um, she just has a free junk removal service for books, and she's getting a ton of books that way. And you can make great money. Talk about high ROI. It's free. Like it's you just got to go pick it up. And yeah, I got
Excuse me, can you hear my dog barking? Did you
a
hear
little
my
bit.
dog barking?
It's not bothering me.
Is it invasive? Because I will go
Nah,
throw them
you're good.
outside.
I'm not
Okay.
fancy. Yeah, no. My kids might come running through here in a second. They'll know. But to some, we're almost at an hour. I have a friend who has a junk removal service. I mentioned him. I made a YouTube video about this. If you come across books or whatever, um, there was a art studio that had 199-year lease, and the lease was up, and he got the job. He won the bid to do the junk removal for it, and we got 2 pallets of art books. Made a freaking killing. I think we ended up, it was like 3 or 4 grand in profit, and then that wasn't including what we put on eBay, and it's just a home run. Those kind of big hits that come from free books or cheap books. Like that's a big it's a big deal.
I could talk to you for days, Corey. I can tell. I could just talk to you for days. Nothing
Yeah.
turns me on more than talking about Amazon. My poor husband, his ears are bleeding. I
That's fun.
retired and I can't get away from this Amazon monster eating the business or me. Uh,
Yeah.
but I have two questions for you.
Okay,
I
sure.
have to know. I have to
Yeah.
know two things. Is your CCEC and the Bolo Group one and the same, or is one a coaching arm and one is for leads?
So here's the problem I have. It's
You
two
might want to
different.
tell people what CCEC is if they don't know you because they're watching today because they're from my group.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. So I started the Bolo group in the begin. I was in a really good one, and then they closed it, or I
How
got
many
kicked
people
out.
are in your Bolo group?
It has a limit of 99. I think we're like 91 or something right now.
And how much
Um,
is it to be in your group and how does it work?
it's $65 a month, and it works. I'm a work monkey for it, and I just all the leads I come across, I put in there. We put like a lot of leads, like 300 to 500 a month, and then we also have providers that I pay to put in there, and they put in leads too. So
Is it a
um,
Discord or is it the Google Sheet?
Discord, it's all on Discord.
Oh, I hate
Um,
Discord. Older
you
people
do.
hate Discord. We hate
Love it.
Discord.
Yeah, it's a Discord, and then you get access to my close friends on Instagram. And so, like the stories that you see me put out, I also put out like what stores I'm at, what deals I come across, that sort of thing. So
Okay, so you got the VA sourcing these leads. What makes your leads different than say a flipping team or perhaps selling fast lane from Carter Maxwell's group? What makes your leads any different, or is it the same? They're just not the same products.
yeah, I
Why do we
think
join your lead group? Because I'm thinking, I'm saying to myself, I got a method to my madness. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. My leads are different because I'm the one sourcing them. I've got a lot of experience finding leads, and I have a good bit of people that in there that will call me on my BS if I put something that is, not a top two. Like they'll eat me alive, and so we have a pretty strict criteria. Literally, all we do for the bulk of our leads is we have the um, one VA and then another VA that are doing their sourcing methods, which is
What about
but then
tankability? Do people complain about tanking?
I buy a lot of the leads, and I don't feel that way.
Do you?
Yeah, I
A
do.
lot of times when I belong to lead lists, I go on the rabbit trails because the lead itself is toast. By the time I roll on a lead,
Yeah. Well,
Could be
one
three
more
days posted already.
Yeah, one more thing. So the VAs, they find the leads and they're posting them to me. They're not posting to like a channel in the Discord. So I'm literally touching every lead and looking at every lead before I post it. So like that's something that's like it's time intensive on me, but it's also a higher quality lead, which is good.
Do you have
Uh,
a free trial that goes along with your leads?
I don't, unfortunately.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But
I was just for the listeners, if they want to give yours,
yeah,
we
appreciate
do.
that.
There are a couple of leads companies I endorse, and now I'm going to be trying yours because
Yeah,
I can't endorse, I can't tell other people about it unless I've used it myself.
yeah, that
So,
makes sense. If you're I think one of my favorite parts about it, if I'm selling it, which I haven't done much of, but I have a thing in there called OARA Think Tank. And it's a channel in the Discord, and basically sales that are happening, like if Target has a get a gift card for spending XYZ amount of money, there's a note that goes in there with a link, and then you go and have a new little edge to source. Or like the other day, Macy's had gift cards that we could buy for a good bit off, and then we were using those gift cards, and we also had 10% Rakuten. So any lead that's in the Discord that's Macy's that you want to source, you immediately have that Rakuten, 10% plus you have
right.
what you're getting off the gift card. So like things like that. That probably helps with the tanking. The idea of it. So
The Bolo, well, say if there's 99 people in the group and you put something hot up there, 99 people buy it. Now you've got a listing that maybe had 20 people on it that has 110 people on it. You do the math, You'd have to be first in or last out, right?
that
On
could
some of
happen.
those.
That's if you have I've been a part of groups like that where there's 10 leads. We're putting out hundreds of leads. Like there's like a lot. So like to go in and buy every lead, or like everybody jump on one lead, I haven't seen that happen. Like I don't see that happen as much. And we do a good bit of RA too. So like some of the RA stuff, like there's a lead right now that's at a store. We have a $10 off 30 coupon. We're buying it. We're getting it for $20, selling it for $59.99. That's you're not going to tank. Maybe you could tank that if but it hasn't happened yet.
I've never really had an issue with tanking until maybe the past 3 months. I don't know. Maybe because it's so slow, everybody's fire sailing trying to get some money out. But I don't know. I don't know, and I can't That's just speculation. So, how does the Bolo work in relation to the CCEC, and what does CCE stand for? I'm again trying to educate anybody who may be in here. Again, I don't know if we have anybody. It might just be me and you. If somebody in here
I
is
think we'll be
following because they know me, they probably have no clue unless they already follow you. Um,
Yeah.
what
See,
CCEC means.
yeah, it started out Codys Continuing Education Club.
I love that.
Basically, I have a limit on the Bolo group, and I like to market stuff, and so I can't really keep marketing the Bolo group and then saying, "Sorry, we don't have any spots for anybody," and so there's a limit on that. But with the coaching, I'm already spending a good amount on coaching, and so like later today, I have a coaching call with somebody inside the CEC Discord, and so the idea is I'm going to spend like 10 grand on coaching in the next 2 years, or within those first 2 years, and some people got in there for a one-time price. Not now it's $9 a month. But you
Nine
get
dollars a month.
it's $9 a month.
Nine, less than 10.
Yeah, $9 a month,
$9
and you can buy a year
for
for
your
cheaper than
continuing
that.
ed course.
Mhm. You can buy it cheaper than that for a year, and then you can buy a lifetime pass for 129, and you have it forever. With no recurring charge.
Okay, so when we're done speaking, I would like you to send me the link to the Bolo group
Okay,
because I have to vet them myself because that's just the way I am. If
sure,
anybody talks to Amazon FBA woman, you could be assured I'm not recommending anything I haven't tried myself and found success with.
love it.
It doesn't mean that other people's products suck. It just means this is what I found. It works for me. It doesn't mean I'm not using so and so's program. It may be I haven't gotten there yet. I
Sure,
don't have a need for it yet. There may be a need in the future, maybe not. So I want to put you up on the board.
okay,
And number two, the CCEC as well. For $9 a month, I spend that a day in Diet Pepsi. No joke.
yeah, sure, yeah.
I want to become part of your CEC and I want to scrape your brain like a buzzard on a rib bone.
I would love
How's
when
that
people
for a saying? Like a buzzard on a rib bone. I don't know where
when
this shit comes from.
when people come in there and ask questions and they're like a part of everything, like I love that so much. Like for me, it's a 10-year project. So like selling memberships is not really what I'm excited about. Like I have an OA person coming in. Do you know Tyler MN Holla? Uh,
Absolutely. I
yeah,
saw him
he's
in
coming in.
Miami in
Yeah,
February.
exactly. Yep, he was there. He's coming in, and it's structured as he's going to do an OA coaching session for me and my operation, and then same format. They're going to be able to ask questions and blah blah blah. Like, it's a really cool thing. And eventually, I'll curate those into this video is good for XYZ type person. This video is good for XYZ type person. So it's a 10-year project for me.
Yeah, I think he and I may have started around the same time too. There's a core group. It's almost
Yep.
like when you go through like a police academy or something. There's the group
Right.
you started with. A lot of the people I started with, MN being one of them, Tyler rather, and then Hala. We'll see each other in the OA challenge. I have
Yeah.
this guy in my FBA group. We talk all the time. Instant message, blah blah blah. He's out in California.
Mm-hmm.
I see him all of a sudden being interviewed by, was it Flips for Miles?
By
Yeah,
Box
I
Fan.
think it was. I think it was probably Flips. It could have been Warner. I'm not sure. I'm having a memory thing right now, but I'm like, oh my god! And when I find out that he's selling 100K a month and he's in my group,
Yeah.
I was so humbled. I'm like, there's nothing I can tell this guy.
Right.
I need to be in his head.
Yeah.
So anyway, anybody who's followed today, who came as a result of my group, again, I have no idea. None of this was planned talking about the leads group or the CCEC. This is just stuff that's been burning that I wanted to ask Cody. And the fact that I can ask you over this venue because I'm not going to see you in person anytime soon.
Sure.
I thank you. So, yes, I will be signing up for those things. I will report back to my group. My group's only 150 people strong, but it's 150 people that, I remember when it was only 5. I started with local people. My dental hygienist, a good friend of mine, the guy who serves me breakfast every day at the diner, they all got into Amazon, and I started the group as a way to answer their questions across the board. And it's grown to 150 people after I said, anybody who wants to be on it's fine as long as they're positive, they're in the United States, and aren't whiners.
That's awesome. Well, I'm not a part of your group. Can I be a part of your group?
Well, I'll be afraid to say anything in my group after this. I'll think about it. Of course, you can be part of my group.
In a month.
And you can be my Valentine too if you want to.
if you decide to not like my stuff, then you can kick me out.
There's no way I'm not going to like your stuff. I would be honored to have you in the group. I have to tell you, I got Avery's mother in the group. She won't listen to him for Jack, according to him. She'll take what I say. He'll say the same thing, and she'll be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I say it, and she'll say, ah, and it drives Avery wild.
That's funny.
Cody, excuse me. Thank you so much. Send me those links ASAP, like within the next 5 minutes, because I want to get in your leads group before you have to close it.
I would love to have you back on here in like a year or something, or 6 months or something, maybe after Q4. So tell your dogs I said hello, and
my husband's probably outside waiting to come in, but they're so excited to see him. He could be gone 5 minutes, and they act like he's been gone for 7 years.
That's funny. Dee, thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing your story and everything.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody who listened today. And I'm going to look forward to watching this in replay because I can't see myself right now. So I have no idea. I'm just hoping there's nothing like out of place on my face. And thank you again. And I hope to meet you face to face again.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
All right.
All right, Dee. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
LAG says, Lorenzo says, you the man, bro. Thanks, Lorenzo. I appreciate it. Although I don't feel like it sometimes. All the gurus don't post videos in the slow times. I don't know about that. What's the group called? It's CEC Discord. Go to my Instagram. It's Cody Does Amazon on Instagram, and that there's links in the bio and everything. Group names, yep, same answer. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much. Goodbye.